Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Bodacious Rant with Burn and Rye. I'm humbly Burn. That guy over there with the ghetto ninja stars is Rye. Oh, he's busting a move now. He's feeling it. He's feeling it, folks.
I'm in a spontaneous mood because I am loving this shirt. Oh my God, this thing is so cool, dude. Like, finally got these in the mail and I feel good wearing it. I gotta wash it though, because I think the fumes from the ink are make me feel weird, you know?
It's like your eyes start watering.
I start jittering, just like, yo, this is doing something. I'm like Charlie from Always Sunny, just because he's missed the spray paint or glue.
Yeah, the glue, right? In the plastic bag.
But in the Nightman episode, he spray painted into a sock with just it's like that's why his mouth is all silver and stuff, like so bad. But anyways, yeah, and again, I got your shirt too, man. So I'm loving it. I'm loving it. Su camisa bonita.
Yeah, definitely.
Actually, wait, real quick. If you're saying, like, if I were to say it to you, it'd be like bonito, like camisa bonito. How would you say it properly in Spanish? Just to clarify.
Oh, well, okay. Well, camisa ends in like a female connotation, right?
I don't know what I call it.
Camisa bonita.
Okay, yeah. But what about like for a dude shirt or whatever? Oh, okay. So even if you're a dude and stuff, it ends with the A. So that was right originally. Oh, okay, cool.
Yes.
I forget. I got to relearn my Spanish. Anyways, but
but we're not here to talk about Spanish.
No, the only thing we are going to talk about is these shirts, guys. If you're interested in these, like, mine is a culmination of some of Zack Snyder's best work, where it's got Dawn of the Dead, the Zombie, Dr. Manhattan from Watchmen, Batman from BVS, and then down here, right in my tum-tum, is a Superman from Man of Steel. So, and Byrne is wearing a shirt. It's based on the Tree of Life, and on the back it has an iconic quote. If you've seen 13 Hours, the Soldiers of Benghazi, the quote on the back is actually from the Excalibur book, where it's like all the gods, all the heavens, all the hells are within you. These shirts go to a good camp. Yeah, these shirts go to a good cause. I would love to. I'm gonna put the link in the description. Basically, his shirt is they're both from inktothepeople.com. Like I said, I'm gonna put the link in and stuff. And you just have to Google Zack Snyder, Ink to the People. But basically, his Burns shirt that he's wearing, and I have it as well, it helps go towards the AFSP, which is the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. Just because Zack Snyder's daughter, a couple years ago, while he was filming Justice League, which led to all of this, which we talked about in our Snyder Cut video, like the news last year. And it goes towards a good cause. Mine is more for the Art Center College to help rebuild one of the buildings and stuff like that. Just kind of get that. It's like a fundraiser. They're both really strong. Zack Snyder feels very strongly about these issues. Well, the suicide one, you know what I mean. He's very passionate about this stuff. So Absolutely. We do recommend them. You have the option to donate however much you want when you buy these shirts, and they're just super comfy. I got mine a little bigger because I'm a little on the bigger side. I'm not gonna lie, little plus person, but they're good materials. I have to wash them just because they're fresh out of the mail. So yeah, definitely, like I said, check it out when you get a chance. But speaking of which, Burn, lead us off. What do you want to talk about right now, my dude?
Well, in the lead up to Zack Snyder's Justice League, which is coming out here pretty soon, Ryan and I wanted to go ahead and revisit his last couple of movies within the DCEU, and the first one being Man of Steel, which came out back all the way in 2013. It's been a whole 8 years, 8 years now. This point, just that movie's come out. Which is crazy to think about.
We were in la escuela de colegio.
Yeah, freshman.
Yeah.
Well, no, I think I was a sophomore at that point.
We were both sophomores, I was going to say, because mine was 2012. It was the summer leading into sophomore year, if anything.
Yeah.
That's right. Because we had because we took that black and white class the second semester of freshman year, which was really fun. But anyways, yeah. So I'm gonna go first, if you don't mind, Burn, just to kind of get my thoughts out there.
Absolutely, because I think you had a more interesting relationship, I would say, with this movie in particular, whereas mine has been more straightforward. And I'll get into that when it's my turn. But yeah, go ahead. You tell us what your relationship is with Man of Steel.
I've never been a Superman guy, so I'm not gonna lie about that. There are some great iterations of him. I've kind of fallen more in love with him the more I've read like Injustice and other stories that include him, especially with Superman Red Sun, Kingdom Come, and just seeing him in like the movies and stuff too. I've kind of become more of a fan. But I just remember at first, because The Dark Knight Rises finished that year in 2012. It was one of the biggest movies of the year. I was super in love with it.
Yeah.
And the fact that Chris Nolan's name was attached to Zack Snyder has had a very rocky film career. Like 300 and Watchmen were passably good in critics' eyes and stuff like that. They're some of the biggest movies. They actually kind of nailed his career. They did Sucker Punch as well, but he also helped with Dawn of the Dead. I forgot if I think he directed that, right?
Yeah, he directed Dawn of the Dead.
James Gunn wrote it.
He did. He wrote.
That's what it was. Okay, yeah. So he's had some good movies. And Man of Steel, I remember I saw with our mutual friend Disney and
nice.
Some other people. And I thought it was okay. I thought it was leaning way too much into I felt like this is basically Chris Nolan's movie with Zack Snyder basically at the helm, which happens a lot in Hollywood. I feel like with like a big name director as a producer, and then an up and coming director, or not up and coming, but a not so popular director taking the lead. And it was just, I didn't care for the blue filter for it, everything, like that cold feeling the whole time. I thought that took away from it. And even when I saw it, I thought there's no way Chris Bale's Batman could easily go toe to toe with Henry Cavill. And everybody's making that comparison at the time. But so I didn't really care for it as much. I loved Russell Crowe as Jor-El. He was easily the highlight of that movie just because of his memorable lines. And Henry Cavill looked great as Superman. But yeah, overall, I just thought, this is okay. And it wasn't until actually Byrne, when he and I were roommates in college, he kind of opened my eyes to it. Like, oh, this is why the movie was done this way. He did agree. You did agree with me that you didn't care for the filter either, the whole just cold feeling throughout the whole film, like that washed out look. So I thought that was like, okay, cool. So I'm not the only one who's complaining about that. But no, when we watched it in our apartment, dude, I was like, wow, I really see what you mean. How it's a great, I don't know. I'm gonna let you talk more about what the movie's meaning is behind it. But after that rewatch, I had more respect for it, and I definitely respect Zack Snyder for what he's done. Like, he's just one of the best visual directors ever, and he really does great with the characters that he has.
Absolutely, and it's so interesting too, because I've seen a lot of the general reception of the movie sort of take the same route that you have with this movie, where initially maybe a little lukewarm to not as receptive of what the movie was trying to do. And then over the years and over time, people have been looking back at it and getting a little bit more of appreciation for what the movie at least was attempting to do. Maybe you didn't agree with everything that happened in the movie, but you can at least see that, Zack Snyder had a take and he at least accomplished what he was setting out to do. Did you like it or did you not like it? That's purely subjective. Did it work for you if it didn't? But at least people, I think, are coming around to the idea that, oh, okay, at least something was attempted here. And for me, in particular, it worked. I think from the beginning, walking out of that theater in 2013, it clicked with me right away. I understood what they were going for, what they were trying to do with, kind of recontextualizing Superman, or at least the origin story of Superman in this more sci-fi grounded, first contact movie. And I thought that worked really well, especially with, the beginning scenes of like Russell Crowe as Jor-El and Michael Shannon as General Zod in their dying world of Krypton. I thought that was really, really cool to see that, Krypton like we hadn't seen before. Whereas, a lot of people.
Not at all.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the reasons why I didn't like it at first, because I kind of remember the old Superman movie, how Krypton was literally like a world of crystals, kind of like his Fortress of Solitude. So I really didn't expect the whole organic feel to it, like his giant Pegasus bug creature thing, his giant grub essentially. It was just vastly different. I think that's probably why a lot of fans like myself just didn't care for it, because we had our own vision of what we wanted for Superman. And even again, I'm not a fan, but I'm like, well, this is how I would like to see it. And that was just one of the reasons why I didn't really click with it at first.
Yeah. And then, just continue on the Superman's journey and the take that they decided to go with this Superman. How, before we've gotten, the biggest audience, grasping of this character would, I would say, be the Christopher Reeve Superman. When that came
Yeah.
out, but where where that really was, a different take on Superman, where it was more of the ideas of what he was and what he symbolizes, truth, justice, and the American way. And we see that in those movies. The first two in particular are the only ones I've seen, because I've heard, three and four are not really great movies. But those first two, directed by Richard Donner, they really capture the essence of Superman. And I feel like that informed a lot of people's, at least initially, I think, in a lot of people's expectations of this movie, where this one was not that at all. It was more of
Yeah.
a deconstruction of the character, and really delving into the psychology of the character and what his character would mean in a more modern sensibility. Being, what I've taken up from away from it, at least, and I've seen a lot of other people take away from it, this being a post 9/11 immigrant story.
Uh-huh. And when you told me about that, I was like, oh my God, I fucking see it. Just because, like, yeah, like you were saying about how everybody had their own impression, like not necessarily Superman 1 and 2, but it was more like Justice League, Superman, like the TV
Yeah,
shows and
those two.
stuff like that. That was kind of mindset of going into it, like he's gonna be just all around like heroic character. When really in Zack Snyder's world, that basically the start of the whole DC universe for Warner Brothers, it was vastly different. He's really much more relatable. Like he's just an average guy trying to do the right thing, and it's just met with controversy. Like we'll talk about that, in, when we revisit Batman and Superman. But and it's kind of like that. It's kind of like in Watchmen when Dr. Manhattan became like the superhero, and Hollis was like, yeah, this is the dawn of the superhero and what he could do. It's almost like he took that energy of the whole, God is real and he is American, or God exists and he's American. That's kind of what this movie was like with Superman, because he's an alien refugee living amongst the world. No one really knows about him, but when it's revealed, it's like so many people were thinking like, whoa, you got to give yourself up, you're an enemy. It's like, but you never noticed until they said something. So who does it really matter? Kind of like 9/11 when everybody was going after Middle Eastern people in America. It's like not everyone. That's not how it works. Or like the Japanese in World War II. It's just a mistake America keeps repeating after every like event, and that's unfortunate. But this movie was very evident of that, so I could totally see that.
Yeah, and then even besides the bigger, I guess, commentary on society, it works, I think, as like you said, as Superman as a character, where at his base in this movie, at least, he's someone who's known to be like the other, like as someone who's been disenfranchised. He's symbolic of an everyday person who's really trying to find their place in this world. What do they have to offer to like, the larger scheme of things, essentially. And he really struggles with that. And like you said, to me at least, it really made Superman and Clark Kent, a lot more relatable than I initially thought of him as a character. Whereas, like you said before, with the JLA and the Superman, and seeing him in those cartoons, and seeing the Christopher Reeve Superman, I never really got that aspect of Superman. Whereas here, it really brought those characteristics to the forefront.
And I could really dive into so many crazy reasons why not a lot of people could relate to it, but that's neither here nor there. Very political reasons if we want to get to it. But I guess just the last thing I just want to just ask before we continue, like before we do our other revisit, have you watched it recently, and have you found any new perspective on it? Or are you still pretty much like, you still love it, you still have your same viewings on it? You know what I mean?
I have watched it recently, actually. I've been, watching this one, and I did watch Batman versus Superman again recently, with my dad, because we're just getting ready to for the Snyder cut. So
I am so fucking psyched.
So we're going back and watching these movies, and the same thing with this one as in Batman versus Superman, which we'll talk about in a little bit. Every time I've come back to these movies, I always notice something else, or I just see something that I didn't see before. And that's a real credit to, I think, Zack and his team, where a lot of people like to write him off as just style over substance. which is, I guess is an easy comparison or it's easy criticism to make because his movies are so visually arresting. Like the image is so fascinating. And I think a lot of people tend to not look past that because, again, you and I are talking about how it's just like, an immigrant story and how all, we're taking a lot of like lessons from these things that the movie presents to us. It's like, it's not style over substance. It's using style as substance.
Yeah.
I think for me in particular, anyway, I come away getting more and more appreciation for the characters in these movies. Where as before, maybe I had minor quips about like things here and there, but coming back to it and I'm watching it again, I'm like, okay, that actually worked for me this time. So
I can
I
see
don't know.
that.
That's just me. It's my own it's my own subjective point of view. Everybody,
and that's totally fair, dude. Yeah, I agree with you on that. Yeah, it is. He's very stylistic, and that's how I thought. It's like, dude, this is all. It looks pretty, but that's all it was. But then when you really like kind of open my eyes to what the subtext of it all, like, then that's why he's one of the best visual directors. Because even when it comes to action or a dialogue scene or anything, not only just due to the actor's credit, but to visually translate something, like each scene really does have a meaningful impact on the story and helps kind of just bring out more of the actor's potential, like what they're trying to convey. And he does such a great job that it's style as substance, using style to not only bring people in, but it's like if you really pay attention to what he's doing, you'll understand more of what he's trying to go for, what he's speaking to about the story. So
yeah. And then again, like you said, when you come to this movie in particular, and judge it on its own merits, on what it's trying to do and the message is trying to convey, you do gain more of appreciation. Whereas if you came at it with some preconceived notion of Superman, which is, I don't blame people for doing that. The Superman character has been around for over 70, 80 years. So
going
it's like
on
people
100.
have, yeah, people have their version of Superman that they hold dear. And I think that's kind of what the initial reactions kind of had to fight against, because it's just such a drastic, take of Superman that's so different than what we've seen before. Not to say that it is a complete reconstruction of the character, because I think at the core of this movie, I think it does get the character of Superman right. And I know that's one of the big criticisms that a lot of people like to lob at Zack, saying that he doesn't understand these characters. Well, I think he does understand these characters. And it was just he's not trying to present them in the way that we've seen them before. And
Exactly.
in his own words, he likes to deconstruct. He likes to really, take parts away of these characters and really get to the core of them, and what their ethos is. And for me, at least, and I know for you, with this movie and Batman vs Superman, I think he succeeded in doing those. And I don't think anything we've seen is a betrayal of those characters. Just more of a really look into what these characters are.
Yeah, no, exactly. Like for this one, he definitely made him a much more relatable version of Superman, where he's not a typical superhero where he's like, oh, I don't kill, I don't, I stand for the American way. It's like he just stands for everything that's good. He just wants to be a good person. He couldn't care less what the politics are. And if you get in his way or you threaten his family, he will unleash hell like anybody would. He's not like purely above the world. Like he's an alien, but he's very human at his core. And I think that's what Zack Snyder did with this. He grounded him to a point of just like, okay, if I was in Superman's shoes, I probably would have done the same thing, or I would do this, or that makes sense why he did that. Like, so I really liked it. I'm rewatching it now actually. And I still like it. It's definitely still a little slow. I'm not gonna lie. There are some parts that still drag on for me, but overall, I still enjoy it. I still feel that emotional impact, especially near the end when he kills Zod and what that brought to him. And I know that was a lot of people's criticisms, like, "Oh my god, he killed Zod." It's like, okay, so are you gonna snap a guy's neck while he's gonna potentially incinerate a whole family in front of you, or like you either snap his neck or you let him do it, like. One life versus four, we could look at it the hard truth, and that's essentially what he did. But he was broken up by it. He didn't just sit there quietly and accepted it. He hated what he did, and that's still Superman at his heart. That he doesn't just want to kill anyone. It really comes at a cost. It tears him apart on the inside. So,
yeah, and it's so funny too because Superman he's killed Zod in the comics before, and he did in Superman 2. But the difference there is when Christopher Reeve killed Zod,
he
he
just
had a
fell.
smile on his face. Yeah, he just like threw him in the thing, and it was
Ah!
like, oh, okay. We're here, like you see it does take a toll on those characters, and I like how him, Zack, and the writers, Nolan, and they like to give these characters like hard situations and have to come into real conflict, because I think that's what makes these characters interesting. If they're always making the right decisions, if they're always saving the day without a single the single hair on someone's head being hurt, it's like it becomes uninteresting, and I don't think the stakes are real or grounded and stuff. And so when you put these characters into conflict and into struggle, they become more relatable and more real.
As Superman once said, that's the problem with truth and justice. The battle never ends. So that's, even though he killed Zod and stuff, like, even though these heroes in the DC world, like especially Snyder's movies, do kill, it's still very much the truth that they're always going to be fighting something, like, but they do what they can, if that makes sense. I mean, I'm losing myself here a little bit, but again, no, it's the shirt. The fumes are getting to me. Just
the chemicals are making their way up into your brain.
Starting to see things. I feel like there's somebody in my room. I can't tell on the camera, but I'm just kidding. Anyways, but yeah, like I said, I really, after we had that rewatch, and I've seen it many times since, it's still a solid Superman movie. Henry Cavill is my Superman. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, absolutely. I think from his performance to the story to Hans Zimmer's score, especially.
Oh my God, the score is fantastic.
It's amazing.
So much build. Just it makes me want to fly.
It makes me believe that I can fly.
Everybody can fly. You are immortal. All right, man. Anything else you want to add to this Man of Steel thing, or shall we jump over to Batman vs Superman?
I've said what I had to say. There are people that have their criticisms for this movie that I think are unwarranted. Just like some little nitpicks here and there, but people they're not going to change their minds at this point. For those little nitpicky things. So it's like, I enjoy this movie. I know a lot of people do enjoy this movie, and if they didn't, I would say do like Rye, maybe give it another rewatch, and separated from the year 2013, maybe there will be a little bit more appreciation for what was attempted.
I'll ask you a question. Why do you think that is? Sorry, I try to be stupid about it, but yeah, absolutely. I definitely recommend everybody, especially with Snyder Cut coming out soon, specifically March
18th.
March 18th. Thank you, Brim. So it's really coming out very soon. Definitely give it a rewatch, and next time when you guys hop back on, we're going to be revisiting Batman vs Superman, the ultimate cut, not the theatrical. Cut, yeah. We're not talking about that hot heap of garbage. So, but Bern, I will talk to you then. How about that?
Yeah, man.
Catch me outside. How about that?
How about that?
All right, man. I'll talk to you later.
All right, man. I'll see you on the next one.
Absolutely.